Hey everybody, Maddox here and welcome back to the Poke Historian, the show where we took a look at some of your favorite Pokemon cards you know, and hopefully some you don't know. And as you can probably guess by looking at this binder here, pack your bags because we're heading to the Southern Islands to look at the Southern Islands collection of Pokemon cards. So for those of you who don't know, the Southern Islands collection was released on July 31st, 2001. It contained 18 special Pokemon cards that were included with this binder. The Southern Islands encompasses two different islands. You have the Rainbow Island and the Tropical Island. Pictured here is the Tropical Island. 9 cards correspond to this island. And then here you have the Rainbow Island, and 9 cards also correspond to this island. And as you'll see here in the binder, each island is broken down into 3 different scenes with 3 Pokemon cards for each scene. So these are the scenes from the Tropical Island. And these are the scenes from the Rainbow Island. So we'll be taking a look at those cards in a moment. And as you can see here in the center, this is an insert that came with the binder. It was a promotion to start playing the Pokemon trading card game at the Pokemon League. You can tell it was around the Neo era because we have Lugia there. And then right here, it also includes a checklist for the Southern Island cards, as well as the Neo Genesis set and the Neo Discovery set, which of course were the first 2 Neo sets. And I should also let you know that not only did you get the 18 special Southern Islands cards with this binder, but you also got a Neo Genesis booster pack and 2 Neo Discovery packs. So you really got some bang for your buck with this collection. And if you ever find one sealed online, you can expect to get those. So pretty cool. Also with the collection, you got postcards, which depicted each of these scenes right here. And we'll be taking a look at those as well as we go through these different cards. So without further ado, we're going to head to the Tropical Island first and see what's going on there. And the first scene that we're going to take a look at is the cliff scene. Here's the first card from the scene. We have the Lapras hanging out with Dratini, splashing around the water, having a grand old time. See if I can get the camera to focus here a little more. There we go, that's perfect. And now we're going to take a look at the second card from the scene, which is the iconic Meryl card. And I should say for each of these different scenes on the 2 islands, it includes 1 holofoil card. So here we have the Meryl holofoil card for the cliff scene. And you'll find as we go through this, a lot of the Gen 2 Pokemon got the holofoil slot because, of course, Gen 2 was very new at the time, and all of these new Pokemon like Meryl and Slowking and some of the other ones we're going to be taking a look at were very popular and sought after during that time. In fact, when I first heard about this Pokemon, he was called Peekaboo, and seeing this card for the first time for me was mind-blowing. And before we continue on our tour of the cliff, I want to compare the Japanese cards with the English ones. So here's the Japanese card of the Meryl, and as you can immediately tell, the holofoil patterns are very different. The Japanese one has more of a shimmering type of holofoil to it, while the English version has the traditional Cosmo holofoil pattern going on there. Also, from what I've been able to tell looking at these cards over the years, it seems like the English version of the card is also just a bit darker. Whether you like that or not is really up to you. And then also the set symbol here, as you can see, is the palm tree. Looks a little bit different in the English version because the English version on that palm tree has the actual trunk striped with little white stripes. It's probably hard to tell on the camera here, but just a little bit different. And while we're looking at these also, you'll notice that the English card says that this is card 11 out of 18 of the set. But the Japanese version of the card actually doesn't list out how many cards are in the set. That information isn't available. And neither of these cards will have any rarity symbol on them because they're specially set cards. So just kind of fun to look at. And sometimes when you look at the pictures too, like the zoom will be a little bit different on the actual picture of the Pokemon of the Japanese versus the English one. So just little things that separate the cards out there. And of course, Meryl here is splashing about with Magikarp. They're jumping out of the water and having a great time at this cliff. And then the last card from the cliff scene is the Tentacruel. As you can see here, he's raising his tentacles up into the air, and you got a Dragonite flying in the background, which is a pretty cool Pokemon to have in a card as well. And that's, I think, one of the favorite things about this set for me is just like all the different Pokemon you have in each of the artworks. It's really fun for me to see the Pokemon, their natural habitats interacting with each other, and this set has just got that in spades. So let's take a look at the full scene here. Here is the actual postcard, and the postcard gives you a real good look at what's going on. I don't have all the postcards anymore. I don't know what happened to them, but I'll show you the ones I do have. And of course, this is probably my favorite one. We can confirm here that Marill and Magikarp are in fact jumping out of the water, and everybody's watching and just enjoying life out at sea. What a life to be a water Pokemon. And here's what the back of the cards look like, or the back of the postcards look like too, if you're interested. Nothing super fancy, but that's what they look like. Next up, we're going to be heading to the beach, and we're going to see what's going on over there on the tropical island. First up, we have the War Turtle card here. It's hanging out with Horsey, and they're spraying some water up onto land from the tidal zone. Looking very focused. Then we have the Holofoil card. We have the Slowking. Beautiful card. Then he's hanging out with Bellsprout and Psyduck. Psyduck is loving the water. As you can see, this is where War Turtle and Horsey were directing their water gun attack over here on Slowking and Psyduck. So they are just loving that. And the final card, we have Executor here marching around in the background, just doing their thing. And for your viewing pleasure, we have the whole scene here so we can see how it all fits together. And as we'll notice, there's also a Poliwhirl here who is just looking exhausted. Looks like he needs some water from War Turtle and Horsey. I don't know why he's not moving over if he's that hot. Maybe Slowking won't let him since he's being a jerk king or something, I don't know. But pretty card. And next up, to get away from a lot of the beach and water scenes, we're going to head to the jungle area. And the first card from the jungle scene is Primeape here. And he's hanging from a branch. He's looking very unhappy and very pissed off, as he seems to like to be. And then we have Venomoth there, of course, too, just flying around. And it looks like Primeape is shaking his fist at someone. We'll see exactly who or what that might be here in a minute. Then on the ground in this jungle, we have Vileplumes hanging out, 2 of them actually, spreading some spores into the sky and just enjoying the sunlight and the general vegetation around them as a grass Pokemon would. And then finally, on the other side, we have Lickitung here, sticking his tongue out at someone, with a Rattata hanging out in the background, and a Venonat. Let's take a look at the full scene and see if we can see how this all comes together. And when you look at the postcard, you can tell that clearly Lickitung and Primeape are egging each other on. Maybe Vileplume spores will calm them both down, who knows. And you got a Weepinbell there in the background. There's an Oddish that we couldn't see, a Paris. And that's the fun thing about looking at these postcards too, is like you can see even more of the picture than you can the cards and really get a grasp for what this scene is meant to be. Beautiful. And with that, that concludes our tour of the tropical island. And now we're going to head to the Rainbow Island. And I will tell you, it's the Rainbow Island that I'm actually missing a couple of the postcards for, so we'll be looking at the binder to make up for some of the pictures we don't see. So first off, we're going to go ahead and look at this flower field. Oops. The flower field is located right here on this Pikachu cheek on Rainbow Island. And the first card from this is the Butterfree. Flying around here looking very pleasant, carrying some flowers, as you would expect to do in a flower field. There is yet another Venomoth there hanging out in the background, and a little Mankey as well. Very pleasant card. I would say that's one of the better Butterfree cards out there. Next up, we have a Jigglypuff hanging out on the ground, picking flowers, looking up at the sky and just enjoying the beautiful weather that the Rainbow Island tends to bring. Also, there's a Weepinbell right there in the background, and a Dodrio as well. And then, of course, the holographic card from the set is the Ladybug, another Gen 2 Pokemon. Center in the spotlight, you can see Jigglypuff's ear just a little bit right there, more flowers, and again, just enjoying the weather, enjoying the climate of the Rainbow Island. Let's take a look at the full scene. And here we have it. And in this picture, you can also see there's a Diglett there as well, a Meowth, a Gloom, another Executor. And God, that flower field is beautiful with all those rainbow colors. Looks like a really pleasant place to take a nap or something, doesn't it? Next up, we're going to head to the pond. So in the pond area, the first card we're going to take a look at is the Raticate card. It's climbing up on a tree. Love all the colors of this pond area. Very tropical looking. And then you also have a Slowpoke there, fishing in the water, trying to see if he can catch himself a Shelder and turn into a Slowbro. And you can see part of an Ivysaur. Then we move on to the center card from the set, which is the Ivysaur himself. You can see the Raticate there poking on the right. Part of Togepi on the left. Some feet of a Pikachu. And you can just barely see the Slowpoke, but Ivysaur looks pretty content here, just enjoying pond life. And then the star of this scene, of course, is the Togepi card, who was a very popular Pokemon at that time, and I would say he's still pretty popular today. Just hanging out, enjoying his youth over at the pond with all of his friends. Wartortle there, and you can see more of the Pikachu as well. So let's take a look at that full scene. There it is. We can also see there's a Goldeen there. You can see the Weedle there underneath the Raticate, and you can see the full Pikachu as well. Definitely a pleasant little scene. And next up, we're going to take the sky and look at the final area of the Rainbow Island. And the first card from this scene is the Onyx card. As you can see, he's also looking very happy, enjoying the beautiful sunshine weather. There is a volcano in the background that looks like it's extinct with some rainbows popping out of it. There is a Dragonite who's flying by, a Venonat there on the bottom, and the wing of the Pidgeot. Definitely one of the better Onyx cards, if not the best one, I would say. Then we have the actual Pidgeot card, flying in the center with his wings spread. Beautiful rings of rainbows in the background. You can better see the Venonat, and you can see Mew's butt. And then last but not least, probably the most famous card from the Southern Islands set. Of course, the Southern Islands Mew, just flying through the sky. Beautiful, you can see a Charizard there, lots of rainbows, Pidgeot's wing. I love the colors on this card too. I think Mew looks absolutely fantastic here. What a great pose. Really captures his whimsical nature. And I do have the postcard for this one, so let's go ahead and take a look. Here's your full scene. As you can also see, we got a Nidoking down there and a Golem. So there's always something hiding in these postcards that you don't see in the actual individual Pokemon cards. But there you have it. That's the Southern Islands collection of Pokemon cards. It's probably one of the most iconic vintage sets of cards out there. And it's really easy to collect too, since there's not that many cards. So definitely a great entry point for new collectors. And like I said, the artwork can't be beat. It's so much fun seeing all these Pokemon hanging out together and interacting with one another. And you can tell that the artist just put a lot of heart into these different illustrations. So with that, thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite scene was that we looked at today. And I look forward to talking with you about more content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thanks.